As kids make the transition into a back-to-school routine, it's important to make sure they also keep active during or after class.
And joining us with some simple techniques to help keep kids moving is chiropractor and movement expert Stephen Gray. Stephen, good morning. And first off, let's just talk about the importance of physical activity and making sure that your kids get enough. Why is it so important?
Well, with recess and phys ed class being potentially canceled for the prolonged fall this year, it's really important to maintain that physical activity at home and puts the onus on parents to make sure kids are maintaining that at home. Because that physical activity not only helps with physical health, cardiovascular health, but also with that mental health and that mental focus at home. And so for me, when parents ask me, how much should my kids be getting? I always go back to the research. So for me, it's the Canadian 24-hour movement guideline, which sort of divides the movement that kids require into 4 categories, being sweat, step, sit, and sleep. So the sweat, meaning they recommend about 60 minutes 3 times a week of activity that gets the heart pumping, gets the kids sweating, jumping, running. And then from there, maximizing our sit, so limiting it to 2 hours a day, and then filling in the rest with sort of structured and unstructured step, which is sort of playtime but involves full body movement, which is the hardest part about getting activity, which for me, I always like to think, well, why don't we get kids sort of becoming more aware of how they're spending their day with a fitness tracker, which something like, for me, is one of my favorite is the Toby watch, which I'm actually wearing today. It's a fitness tracker that kind of brings in the element of games for kids, so they become a little bit more aware of how they're spending their day sweating and sitting.
Yeah, Kara's also got hers on. You both tracking your fitness.
Oh, nice.
I was going to put one on, but I just do so much fitness, it would just literally explode off my wrist.
I think it works the opposite. I think he's going to be yelling at me all day to get moving.
Yeah,
All right.
reminding you.
For sure. So with kids sitting for long periods at their desks, that can be hard on their hips, can it not? What are some ways to alleviate that kind of hip tension?
Yeah, so when you're sitting in that flex position in a chair, that muscle in front of the hip is shortened. And so we need to stretch that, because kids sitting in that shortened position, then when they go to do anything that requires extension, they're going to feel that tension. And that can be something as simple as walking. So the stretch that I like to give kids is you're going to place that knee on that chair, your desk chair, and you're going to step forward with the other foot, creating that lunge position. You want to aim for that stretch in the front of your hip. So you're driving the knees over the toes, going into that stretch. And if you don't feel it here, easily increasing with a gentle reach over the arm. Now, for parents that ask, well, how long are kids supposed to be holding the stretch? The easy answer for me is always hold it for 5 yoga breaths. So we all know that simple inhale and exhale yoga breath. So if we hold for 5 of those, it kind of promotes the kids to hold the stretch and maintain it for a good amount of time, but also sort of promotes that relaxation and that ease into the stretch, so you get that full benefit.
Is your Toby watch laughing at Stephen? What's happening over there?
Toby's really enjoying your stretch.
Yeah. All right, let's move from the hips to the core, because that's also really important, Stephen. What's an easy exercise kids can do to keep their core strengthened?
Yeah, so when I ask my students, what do you think of when I say the word core? The most common answer is always those front abs. But truly, our core is 3-dimensional. So it's the front, the side, the back, top, and bottom. I always think of it like a pop can. It's very 3-dimensional. So an easy exercise that sort of focuses that full core strength and that endurance through a fun functional activity is our plank. Now, for plank, you want to remind your kids, okay, that natural curve in the spine, maintain that while you're in your plank. And from there, we're going into the plank position, which has hands on the ground, elbows stacked on top of wrists, shoulders on top of elbows, lifting up into the plank. From here, if you're finding that this plank is a little easy and we can breathe no problem, you're going to increase the difficulty by stepping apart and stepping together without adding that sort of wiggle jiggle with the full body. And then the ultimate is what I call planking jacks, which are jumping jacks in our plank position. Now, the reason why I love planks also is because increasing that strength that a plank gives you not only helps with the everyday movement of something as simple as getting up out of a chair for all ages, but core strength really, truly is fundamental for that athletic child. So whether it's hockey or whether your kid is in gymnastics, they're doing a back handspring, something like this. it keeps your child safe so they're able to do all of that activity.
If I did that with Toby right now, I don't know who would freak out more.
Don't worry, Kara. I'll dial 911 right here. I got you covered.
All right, before we let you go, what's your advice to parents? Because obviously keeping things fun. I mean, if I could do a backflip for the kids, it would keep it super fun, but I can't. So what can I do?
So turning anything into a game is sort of where it's at. And that's why the watch is. So you're taking care of your little iRobot pet, but you're actually acquiring points which allow you to take care of your pet and add stickers and decorate their little room by doing the activities on the watch. So yes, there are math games, there are spelling games, which are good for your kid. But there's also physical games like Freeze Dance and Simon Says, where the watch actually tracks the movement of what you're doing and keeps your kid kind of doing that step category, that unstructured movement, kind of fills out that category, gets them playing with full body movement, but it makes it a little bit more of a fun, turns into a game, incorporates the tracking of the fitness and also tracking the fitness of their little pet. So overall, it sort of encompasses a lot of the elements that we need them to carry on into adulthood, but sort of through play.
Well, Toby's stuck with me now. I don't know if I'm going to hand him over to the kids. I think I need him in my life.
Does cracking your knuckles count? Does that count as a threat?
I don't know if I'd read that, but...
Stephen, thank you so much. Such great tips. Thank you.